Marriage is a partnership that includes the practical business of running the household. It's not enough to fall in love or just to get married. There are other things you got to put into perspective. That means keeping the financial records, home maintenance, shopping, planning, cleaning, cooking, childcare, transportation, name them. So it's a practical business of love. So when these practical aspects of your married life run smoothly, then there is peace and harmony in the home. But if they do not, of course, that causes a lot of stress and tension, irritation, and just name them. So if the house is a mess, or if there is no clean clothes for the children to wear, or if it rains hard and the leaky roof wasn't fixed because of procrastination, someone needed to pay the bills and they didn't pay it, and now they cut off the light and there is no, hot water to take the bath, then irritations might grow, misunderstandings surfaces, and conflict could arise. So now let us go to what I call set priorities right. So set your priorities as a couple. You're going to set your priorities as a couple on what is truly important for each of you. Domestic disorder simply doesn't bother some people. But if you are comfortable with a messy home, but it bothers your spouse, then you both need to compromise. So compromise works best if you select priorities rather than trying to ignore it. To compromise does not mean to ignore. Some people misunderstand. That does not the meaning of compromise. So dialogue is a key to effective compromise. But have you got to sit down and look at, without, denying it or trying to say, oh, it doesn't happen. You got to sit down and talk. So discuss how you feel about home-cooked meals versus quick meals or eating out all the time. So find out each other's feeling about, a clean toilet, an unmade bed, paying the bills on time, and so forth. That's part of, practical investment of a love in a married life. So if one of you feels that a toilet should be cleaned every day or every other day, then you need to share that information so that you can understand the available options that will bring both of you to the place of compromise. So sit down together and make a list of the chores that each of you absolutely hates. There are things you don't want to do. You don't like this. But it's not as if it's for someone else. Just remember, both of you are into this. So you got to make the list of those chores that you absolutely hate, especially when both of you don't like it. So what one hates, the other may be able to tolerate. So if both of you detest the same chore, then figure out a way to compromise in getting this unpleasant task done. Or perhaps you could tackle this horrible chore together as a team. Now, let us go further and see, agree on a timetable. So it is important to be considerate on one's body clocks. What do I mean by that? Some people are morning people. They are early morning people. And some people are night owls. So forcing one another to do a project or a chore when they are not ready to do it can create tension. So unless there is an emergency to that. So I hope you know the difference between an emergency and a routine. They are not the same. I know timing is important though. I agree that some chores are time sensitive while others are not. So agree on the timetable. Look at your timetable and see how, you're going to just get things done. Another one also would be, touch base on a plan each week. So let one another know what the coming week is going to be like. Meetings, errands, special occasion, birthday, anniversary, whatever it is that is going on, just be in touch to let the other person also know what is going, so that both of you can be on the same, on the same page. Then decide who is going to do what. Make a list and post the list. Then let it go. So, this type of scheduling, I know that is how we're going to do it all our life. Remember, you are still you're going to be very fresh in this partnership. We want to set you on the road in order not to fail. So this type of scheduling will help both of you in your early years of marriage, until you get to the point where you are spontaneous, comfortable, and when, taking responsibility is no longer an issue. That for some people is an issue. They feel like that is the work of the other person. But in order to get both of you knowing that both of you are into this, you owe each other that responsibility. You got to understand, what am I willing, to do in order to keep the home running. Of course, you're going to keep reevaluating. It's not a one-time thing. That's why we prefer it, if it's possible, go back week after week to reevaluate. So if one of you doesn't follow through, on promises to share the work around your home, try and discover together why there is such a reluctancy. Why is he or not doing what he promised? Or why is she not doing what she promised? Sometimes one partner overcommits and underestimate the time it takes to, get things done. Blaming your partner for what hasn't been accomplished will not be effective. Reevaluate your plan and adjust as needed. So be flexible and allow your partner time and space to accomplish tasks on their own way, especially when it doesn't cause any danger, to the life of the family. I know some of you already kind of, how to fold the clothes, how to fold the laundry. And the other person has different way of folding the laundry. Be a little bit flexible. It mustn't be your own way. It must be this way or no other way. If it doesn't cause, a harm to the family, just let it be. Don't shut the other person out of, the house responsibility. I would say that responsibility means the ability to respond to the need on time. So, and you hear this, why isn't my partner doing anything? Why is it always me? Sometimes some people are in a relationship, they feel like it is their job to do everything. And that's why, you got to remember what I mentioned about codependency. People who enter into relationship just to take and take and take. They're not willing to do nothing. So, taking ownership and responsibility for your actions is an important part of a healthy relationship. So doing so is an empowering reminder that you have control over the role you play in your relationship. Taking responsibility creates trust and dependability. If you are in a relationship where the other person never took responsibility, how could you trust that person? That the person will be there. Think about it's time for the other person to get the children, back from school. If the other person doesn't take responsibility, and now you came back by 8 p.m., nobody brought the children home. That's lack of trust. You can't depend on him or her to do what he or she promised that she's going to do. So you got to be very responsible. You're not a grown-up, ready to take care of someone else. So it is important to distinguish between taking and deflecting responsibility. For you and your partner, you got to understand, what does it mean to take responsibility? What does it mean to deflect from responsibility? So be aware of defensive responses. That is where, deflecting responsibility, might come with something like, stop being so dramatic. You are so dramatic about this. Or you are unnecessarily sensitive. So people deflect from the responsibility for being defensive. So people become defensive and nowadays, oh, you're too much dramatic about this. So it is important that you take and accept responsibility. You got to be present. This is your own thing. This is your relationship. In order to have a healthy relationship, taking responsibility is not an option. And you're not doing it to help anybody. This is your relationship. It's not her relationship. It's not his relationship. It's we relationship. And when we use that we, both of us are involved.